What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're here for a new Madden 25 realistic rebuild. And I never thought I'd have to make this one this year, but things have completely derailed for the San Francisco 49ers, and I think they're worthy of a rebuild. They're an incredibly interesting rebuild because there's so many ways that I think they need a rebuild. And hey, first things first, I get it, Niner fans. When I first became a Philadelphia Eagles fan, it was very early in the Andy Reid tenure. You guys are the Andy Reid Philadelphia Eagles, where we were like, clearly it felt like the best team in the NFC for like an era. And for whatever reason, could never win a Super Bowl. And then we got to go sit there and watch Andy Reid go to Kansas City, and the rest is history, which is kind of brutal. And thankfully, we did get our one Super Bowl, which makes it sting a little less. But like, I'm seeing a lot of similarities between what Andy Reid and the Philadelphia Eagles did and what currently the struggles that are going on with the 49ers. And the 49ers this season, you know, you get it. It's one of those things where it's like last year was perfect. You were pretty much entirely healthy until Greenlaw hurt himself in the Super Bowl. And then this year, you have CMC has battled injuries. Jordan Mason came out of nowhere. Picked him up on my fantasy football team. He's been hurt. Trent Williams, all-world left tackle, has been hurt. Brandon Ayuk is out for a season. Your first-round pick got shot, who I am a massive fan of, Ricky Pearsall from the University of Florida. Deebo Samuel is... unfortunately, I don't think it's fair to say that he's washed, but you're very concerned about what the future looks like for Deebo Samuel in a San Francisco 49er uniform. Defensively, Nick Bosa's been in and out of the lineup. You have Fred Warner not playing at 100%. Dre Greenlaw finally just returned from his Super Bowl injury last night, because I'm recording this right after the Rams loss. Hufanga's been out with an injury. Hargrave's been out with an injury, and he kind of got a little bit of like, maybe why Philly didn't want to pay him so much money, because he is a very one-dimensional but very good interior pass rusher. And it's all kind of coming down at once. And if you told me that in 2025, next season, the Niners are back and look like one of the top dogs in the NFC again, I wouldn't necessarily blame you. But where you're at right now is not an ideal spot, because now you're looking at a roster that's very expensive, kind of old, still have to pay players. In particular, Brock Purdy. Understand? Do you pay Brock Purdy? Do you look at a guy that is very clearly a good game manager and think, I mean, again, this view is going to be kind of hard to make because I am an Eagles fan, and there was a big rivalry going on between Philly and San Francisco. Brock Purdy is the center of that debate, because the game that we knocked Brock Purdy out because you guys couldn't protect him, and then all the Niners. Hey, from that game, Deebo Samuel sent me an autographed 49ers helmet after that game. We had a little bit of a little bet on the line. And basically that was his admission that the Eagles are a superior team, a superior franchise. And I've always kind of had a soft spot for Deebo after he really manned up from that and said, you know, I talked a lot of crap with the Philadelphia Eagles, but I'm going to send you signed merchandise to let you know that the Eagles are better. But that game, around Brock Purdy, everyone says, well, Brock Purdy's in that game. 49ers win, apparently. Apparently that's what happens. And if you really think about him that way as a quarterback, you got to pay him. But the reality is, you know, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was his backup in San Francisco. We've seen what Sam Darnold's done with Minnesota. You think Sam Darnold could come in and operate the offense the same way Brock Purdy did for a fifth of the price? And I'm going to say for this rebuild, I have no idea. I literally have no idea. There's plenty of things. We could not re-sign Brock Purdy. We could move on from McCaffrey. We could move on from Deebo. We could fire sale this team to try to turn it around. I have no idea what my approach is going to be right now. I wish I did, because that's probably going to be eventually what's in the thumbnail, the hook line to come watch this rebuild. I have no idea. And I think that is what makes this 49ers rebuild so interesting, because I have no idea how they turn it around. I have no idea how they get over the hump. Is it keeping Brock Purdy and continue development from a Madden standpoint? 90 superstar at only 24 years old. Hell yeah, that is a quarterback that, at least in Madden, is going to be very good and can carry this team potentially to a Super Bowl. But he's also, how expensive? He's going to be $200 million, $300 million? How is that going to fit on a team that has CMC with a lot of guaranteed money, and Ayuk, and Kittle, and Trent Williams, and Hargrave, and Fred Warner, all these guys making big-time bucks? Lenore just got a big contract. So Ward's got paid. I have no idea how I'm going to fix it. But in this video, in a minimum of 5, maximum of 10 seasons, we are going to try our best to figure it out and win a Super Bowl here with the San Francisco 49ers. Now, this doesn't really matter because, for whatever reason, someone at Madden decided we're not going to do like the starting point for when you want to start your franchise modes, where in years previous, it used to be like almost every month You could start your franchise at week 4 with accurate stats, week 10, etc., etc. And I guess they don't have the budget for that anymore. Then you make Snowman and Ultimate Team and etc., etc. So I just simmed the whole year. Records the same up till the Rams game that we just had. But at least this will kind of give us an idea, like, what does the offense look like? What does this 49ers sim offense look like? And Brock Purdy played at a pretty high level, 36 touchdowns, 4,100 yards. So, like, you look at that. You look at CMC barely scratching 1,000. This had nothing to do. Like, he played the full game. We didn't really have to follow the real injuries that the 49ers had. I'm seeing this is a pass heavy. We don't need the expensive running backs. No 1,000-yard receiver, which is definitely something. But, I mean, look at CMC at the backfield. That is pretty ridiculous. So it gives us an inclination that this 49ers offense, very accurate to real life, that the running back, be it CMC or whoever. And I needed to make a point. CMC, even though Eagle fan, kind of the rivalry with San Francisco, CMC is one of my favorite players ever, obviously, for the brand. Love Ricky Pearsall. Kittle's a little corny, but kind of, how can you? Kittle's very much kind of like, how can you not like him, even if he is a little goofy? Pretty awesome player. Like these guys. Want to try to keep these guys together. Does it make sense though? Defensively, Greenlaw, awesome player. Loved him watched him a couple times in the SEC. Fred Warner's a baller. We got 10.5 sacks from Hargrave, only 7 from Bosa. So that is definitely alarming that the pass rush not on point for San Francisco. Thought that would absolutely be the case. A lot of interceptions. Love seeing 6 interceptions there for Charvarius Ward, 2 for Jair Brown. Hufanga with a pick there. But like what I read from this, rushing yards could be better. No 1,000-yard receiver. Pass rush, not great. Gives us a little bit of a direction where to go. We're going to have one opportunity to throw out some contracts here before the beginning of free agency. Got a big draft. Got a decent draft pick. Got to need to make the most of it to kickstart this rebuild. All right, first hurdle. Thought it was going to be 50-50. Trent Williams has decided to retire. The good news is gives us a huge bump to our salary cap. Bad news is, even where he's at right now, he's like, a top 3, top 5 left tackle in the NFL, and that's a considerable loss because there's no one in the pipeline, and now left tackle probably shoots up near the top of the list of where the San Francisco 49ers need to invest that first-round pick. And for whatever it's worth, a little annoying that an NFC West team went on to make the Super Bowl in the Seattle Seahawks. Chill. For our squad, looking at our dev traits, Deebo Samuel loses his X Factor, which is probably fair, all things considered. CMC keeps his. I think that was a huge bump to his receiving number because he just barely scratched 1,000. Purdy keeps his superstar. I honestly thought Ricky Pearsall might have a chance to go up dev trait, at least up to a star, which he probably should be anyways, but maybe that's a little Florida Gator bias. On the defensive side of the ball, Bosa and Warner keep their dev traits. Charvarius Ward, superstar. Lenore, star. Hufanga. I thought Greenlaw maybe. I mean, he didn't really play technically the full season, so I guess that's not that big of a ridiculous. You have Devondre Campbell just retired, I guess, after that Rams game, so we'll just go ahead and remove him from the roster and get started on a busy offseason. First things first, though, because how we kind of started this first season, I have no idea who is a pending free agent for the 49ers. Hopefully not too many, because we only have one chance to offer them a contract, or we have to franchise tag them, or they bounce to free agency. All right, good news, $112 million. Bad news, whoa. Did not know they have this many players. We got to go this with the idea that, honestly, I think we keep Brock Purdy. I don't necessarily want to do that spicy of a rebuild. And I say that not firmly because that's what I think they should do. Could they do, whatever. I do that just because Brock Purdy is at least proven in this one first full sim season. Like, he could be the guy. He can absolutely pull the strings and play at a very high level. So, we got Aaron Banks at guard. I think because he wants to stay here. Get him for 2 years, last 2 years of his prime. And we got a star dev guard that's probably going to flirt with an 80 overall. Jordan Mason, it just kind of fits into the vibe that, like, any running back's going to be solid in this level. And, probably let him walk. Dre Greenlaw, very important playmaker. Don't love a 4-year contract. Don't love the fact that he's looking to get paid like an edge rusher. So I think we have to let him walk. Ufanga's an awesome player, 5 years. What is his ceiling? Potentially. I think we wrapped up. I don't necessarily say I want to overpay, but we'll go something like this. 5-year, $90 million. If he takes it, sure. If not, I don't know how many rebuilds I've had where the strong safeties, the needle mover between Super Bowl and no Super Bowl. But he's an awesome player. We got Charvarius Ward. He's looking for a 1 year, and I feel like we're not going to spend that money elsewhere. So why not just, flex a little bit on this short-term contracts, not committing a lot of long-term money, again, with the idea of Brock Purdy's contract. So we'll get Ward back on a 1 year. Oh, I honestly think they're going to let him walk now. After the year, I think it's getting to a spot where it's for Debo and the Niners and Shanahan. It's probably best if it's just, let's both go our separate ways. I think that's oh man, I wish Greenlaw wasn't getting paid like edge rusher. I would love to bring him back for like a 2-3 year deal as an off-ball lineman. There's no way. $90 million. Yeah, freaking right. Appreciate you, Debo. Appreciate you. Come to Philly. Hey, you want to come be wide receiver 3 in Philly? That'd be cool. You know what? I'm doing this from now on, I think we need to set the precedent. The price could still be the same, but what if I'm just going to move Greenlaw into middle linebacker and see if it gives us a reasonable contract for an off-ball linebacker? Dre Greenlaw, he's absolutely not an edge rusher. He's one of the better cover linebackers in the league. He wanted $90 million when he was an outside linebacker. If that get down to like 50 or 60, there you go. There you go. I'll pay that. And I don't think that's cheesing. I think that is a workaround from a broken Madden mechanic. I don't think that I should be getting called out in the comment section for that. I think I should be applauded, and maybe we can, universally agree as a franchise community that if you have an outside linebacker that is very clearly getting grouped in with edge rusher contract, it should be easy and stress-free, guilt-free to move him to off-ball linebacker and pay him still top-tier money for an off-ball linebacker. Happy we can keep Greenlaw and Warner together. So we enter the offseason. Tackle's the biggest need, and of course, if we want rentals at tackle, those are available. I don't think that is really the best course of action. And look at really across the offensive line, any player that could even potentially kick inside to play a little tackle for the 49ers doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for the squad. D-tackle could kind of be a secondary need. Find someone that can go play alongside the grave digger, Javon Hargrave. And, again, it's just... I definitely think that is something that has affected rebuilds to a certain degree in Madden 25. Free agency sucks, man. There is very rare you can get a game changer in free agency. Now, if you're all in, going for like a 1 year Super Bowl, there's always plenty of veterans for like a 1 year type deal. That might make a lot of sense. But ultimately, if you're trying to like build a squad, you got to hit the absolute RNG jackpot to try and land a big dog. And oddly enough, like Debo's a top available free agent. Best of luck wherever he ends up going. I will check back in at the end of free agency. Just see, where's he going? Like, could it be spicy? Could he go to another team in the NFC West? And could he go to the Eagles? That'd be funny. All right, sitting and waiting all the way to pick 18 in the first round there right now. For tackles, Calvin Banks, as you can see, went 2 to the Patriots. Will Campbell went 6 to the Denver Broncos. So we're very much kind of picking best available if tackles where we want to go. And that's where we did our scouting. We also scouted some of the defensive tackles. So we got Kenneth Grant, who's a legit first rounder, but missing out on Mason Graham, his partner in crime, Michigan, who's a better player. A couple value picks, going a little bit later in the day too, but like no absolute steals found, unfortunately. So we now, push our attention back to tackle, where we got Emory Jones of LSU, first, second round talent. So there's value there. Or we have Ariante Ursery. I think I've never used Ursery yet in a rebuild. So for just the sake of giving everybody an honest chance, look at that size profile, 6'6", 325, absolute powerhouse. Welcome to the San Francisco 49ers, Ariante Ursery, tackle from Minnesota. And I think the kind of word out on him, one of the better run blockers in all of college football, kind of guy that's going to come in and be a perfect fit for a Kyle Shanahan system, and lofty expectations to say he's going to be our successor to Trent Williams, but fact of the matter is that's what he's going to be. And when you look at someone like maybe Kobe Turner, who is just inheriting, you are the success for Aaron Donald and playing at a high level, even though it's not 100% you're getting labeled as a replacement. I mean, that's what's going to happen here. And we get a player number 46 in true value at 18. Not great, but please have a dev trait. So going back to Ricky Pearsall, that is 2 straight first-round picks for the San Francisco 49ers that have normal dev traits. Yikes. So with that, we now need to pivot here a little bit. Got some running backs. I don't really plan on getting rid of CMC just quite yet. Is there a running back that could do all the CMC job? Not, I mean, I guess Donovan Edwards can, you know, catch the football in the backfield a little bit. Huh. Now, if I wanted to go elsewhere, where else can we find value? Well, D-tackle. Someone like Shamar Stewart could play D-tackle in the mold of like an Eric Armstead. Jordan Birch, same kind of deal. As far as straight-up D-tackles, not a lot of value there. We feel pretty good about our linebackers. It's going to be Heavy Greenlaw and Fred Warner. In the secondary, we feel pretty good there as well. So I think that's probably the move we want to make for blind picking between Birch and Shamar Stewart. Let's see if we can go. So we got 3 C's and a B for Birch, 6'6", 294. So can kind of be that tweener. Probably dogging him a little bit on the athleticism. I know he was pretty high in Bruce Feldman's freaks list, which kind of usually is right. He's not too far off the mark. Or we got Shamar Stewart. B power slightly, you know, higher. And then you look at the athleticism and, you know, the athletic profile, very similar. So we'll go Shamar Stewart here. And with the idea of kicking him inside, and again, a reach. Please at least have a dev trait, which we get one. All right, so looking at our draft recap. Well, we finished it out. Just solid depth players across the board here. Katron Allen give us a little bit of running back power to Penn State. Got Gus Miller at center, Nesbitt depth at tight end. Munden in the 3rd round. Just, you know, we do still need to have 3 linebackers across the board in base. And we got the Georgia cover linebacker, 91 speed, 90 acceleration, so big-time athleticism, only a normal dev. Shamar Stewart in the 2nd round, 70, but he does have a dev trait, and I do wonder, he's enough of a tweener that I'm actually a little worried that if we move him inside a D-tackle, his rating might take a little bit of hit. Usually that's not the case, because a lot of times you're converting like a 315-pound DN to D-tackle. He's clearly undersized for the position, but I do believe he can rush the pass from the interior. I would not love, and we do take a point there, I mean, him and Javon Hargrave, that is, teams are going to run all over them, but it's Madden. It's not real life from that regard. And then Ursery, normal dev, 73, not a brutal starting point, but man, oh man, would have loved a dev trait roll on that one. All right, let's bring it in live. Week 7 undefeated. I'd say that's the optimism. If you're the Niners and you end up finishing last in your division this year, the good news is that if you kind of bounce back, 2025, you're going to have a loser schedule, last place schedule, so we have a very winnable stretch here to start out 6-0. We have our first breakout in a minute. Now, these have become few and far between. That's probably the biggest change, I think, base franchise mode from Madden 24 to 25 is dev trait scenarios, in my opinion, are a lot more difficult to generate. Not necessarily to hit, because when they hit, now you got a bunch of different options. They made the customization for dev traits a little bit better. I just find that they pop up way less frequently. So get Jair Brown 2+ combined TFLs, forced fumbles, PBUs, sacks, to go from star to a superstar dev, which would be great to get a little bit more clarity to our secondary, because we paid Hufanga, and you got Malik Mustafa, who's, you know, borderline too good to be depth. So we beat the Rams 34-28, which is nice considering in real life this year the Rams swept the 49ers. A 4-touchdown performance from Brock Purdy, cool. But more importantly, did we get a Jair Brown dev trait? I was a fan of Jair Brown at Penn State. He was a stellar draft pick by the 49ers, but we'll see if he hit his dev trait scenario or not. Defense had some success. Usually when they start by in some areas, they hit you with the, did not hit it, but because we won the game, 2,500 XP for Jair Brown. You might as well just keep right here, talking about some contracts as we are at that mid-season point. You know, made tough decisions so that we had a decent chunk of money to handle business this year. We had to let, you know, most notably Deebo Samuel walk, and a couple other starters had the retirement of Trent Williams. So now it kind of opens things up. We have Juwan Jennings, Traveris Ward, George Kittle, and Brock Purdy. And I think just out of hierarchy and importance of the, we'll get Kittle here for 3 years. Wow. You know what? Let's just act like Kittle's saying that because he wants to make sure Brock Purdy can get paid. Now, I don't know if this is going to be in line with Brock Purdy's going to get in real life. Honestly, if I'm San Francisco, I'm going to try to hit Jalen Hurts' contract, because Purdy and Hurts are, you know, the operators of their offense. Oh, it's an insane amount of money. But we know that he could play very well here. So we got him, and we are going to have enough to pay George Kittle, but that means Traveris Ward, Juwan Jennings, 2 key starters are going to have to bounce, and that's going to be 2 positions we need to address in the draft. But we'll come back next week to ensure that George Kittle retires a 49er. There we go. We got Kittle over the line for 3 more seasons. Whoa! So I went to upgrade our players, and then out of nowhere, Shamar Stewart has 7. So we are popping off here. 5 sacks in the season, got him 25,000 XP. Whew. That's a good roll. So that is going to bring him all the way up to a 70. I'm pumping all the points right into Power Rusher because that is stylistically what he will be as an NFL player. God damn. We got a Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate here. So the 49ers got right back on track. Yes, it was an easier schedule, but still got to play. Still got to go out there and do it. And we go 14-3. We win the NFC West. So from 8-9 to 14-3. Was Deebo Samuel a locker room cancel? Was he the thing that was holding the team back? I'm not going to say that, but pretty stark contrast from where the Niners are at in real life to where we got to in year 2. A lot of the stats, Brock Purdy was solid. I mean, interceptions kind of creeped up there a little bit. If you're a $300+ million quarterback, you want to see a little bit better, but that's solid for a game manager. CMC's numbers back up a little bit, 1,200 yards, 13 touchdowns. No 1,000-yard receiver, but Ricky Pearsall in the slot, 800 yards, 13 touchdowns. Feel pretty good about that. CMC's a weapon, but would love to see, with Ayuk being superstar, you want those 1,000 yards. You want that security that they're not going to just cannibalize their own dev trait because of our scheme and system. Defensively, Greenlaw and Hufanga were tackle machines. Sacks continue to be a problem here. That's a fireable offense, I think, for the DC. I think we need to find a new defensive coordinator because happy for Shamar Stewart. He's the only guy that keeps his. 17-5 for Hargrave's not brutal. Bose is a 99. Like, you can't have a 99 pass rusher back-to-back seasons be that disappointing, especially for how much money he's already paid. We inherited his contract. So I do think our defensive coordinator is going to be looking for a new job somewhere. Even with us making the playoffs, it's just not working out. For whatever it's worth, Brock Purdy does make the MVP shortlist at number 10. The first round of the playoffs, we get Caleb Williams back out on the West Coast and the 9-8 Chicago Bears. But when you break it down, tail of the tape, it's bizarre that I am saying that we're going to get rid of our defensive coordinator because our defense is really good. But I think that's more of the players. All right, I'm not illogical in thinking we got to get more of the pass rush. And there's only one way that we could probably get more out of the pass rush. End up winning on the back of the defense, 14-13, low-scoring game. It is Dre Greenlaw with a Defensive Player of the Week performance. 7 tackles, a sack, a pick, a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, making plays all over the field. Happy we were able to retain his services, and now this would be a hell of a matchup. Philadelphia, Saquon Barkley, and their 93 overall offense against the defense of the San Francisco 49ers. We will show the utmost respect for my Philadelphia Eagles with the Super Bowl on the line and make sure our best players are out there. So Stewart and Hufanga had a great week of practice, and they are ready to go from below 500 to featuring in a Super Bowl. And with Jalen Hurts getting 4 touchdowns, I'm going to assume we did not win this one. Damn. Philadelphia, different. Hey, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. You don't want to hear it because there's going to be Niner fans that don't want to hear it. Philly just a little, just better than us in this one. Jalen Hurts, Saquon, when you can go up against a game where they hold CMC to 24 yards, completely eliminated from a game. When you let Devontae Smith go for 207, you're gonna have a bad time. Hargrave against his former team does get a sack, but honestly, completely dominated by the Eagles. Have it all off. Honestly, from a roster construction standpoint, there's way too much money paid to Juszczyk, but very valuable in real life, not so much in Madden. He retires after 13 seasons, so that's a decent chunk of salary cap getting back added to the pool. So as we get to the offseason, 2 things I want to talk about. One is during this period, we have one last opportunity to negotiate with 30-year-old Charvarius Ward, 91 superstar. I do kind of like our depth at corner. I think we could continue to develop Bernardo Green and Lenore, but, Ward's only getting better with age. So I think we at least throw him a respectable offer. 2-year, 35. If he takes it, there we go. Might make salary a little bit difficult next season, but either way. Juwan Jennings, great role player, but unfortunately can't afford to keep everyone. McKivitz is our starting right tackle, so we are going to need to look at replacing him as well. But, he's essentially at his ceiling. But the big change, I said I was going to fire the defensive coordinator because we are just not getting any sacks whatsoever. However, the point of the rebuild is to win a Super Bowl, not pad my defensive stats in the box score. And our defense, Number 2 defense in the league. 6 against the pass, 4 against the run. I think I have a middle ground. I think I have a fair, reasonable middle ground. We're not getting sacks with Shanahan's scheme. What if we get a little bit better roll with D'Amico Ryans? Essentially the same scheme, right? Don't think there's going to be a whole lot of variations. Maybe we get a better roll. So I feel like maybe that's what we're going to do. I feel like this is better than just outright firing our DC. It'll give us a different scope in year 3, and maybe, just maybe, we'll have 99 overall Nick Bosa get more than 5 sacks. And I will say, just before free agency and the offseason starts, I was kind of combing through the roster of like, who should we trade? And I get, maybe there's a slight appeal because of the state of the Niners to do like an all-out fire sale. We didn't pick up Debo. We've had some, somewhat tough decisions to make to their overall roster. But I mean, there obviously is an appeal like, I'm going to blow up the Niners and we're going to completely rebuild them. And you look at someone like Christian McCaffrey, can't stay healthy, very expensive at 30, which is kind of a doomsday for a running back. And I was like, oh, do I try to trade Christian McCaffrey? But like, honestly, trading him is for the sake of trading him. We have enough room salary cap-wise. He's playing at a high level. I think the only reason why I would be inclined to trade Christian McCaffrey is if I felt like we had someone on the roster that, like, has upside. We don't have anyone with a dev trait. We don't have that guy. There's no successor in place. If we get one, then yeah, it might make sense to cut loose CMC while he still has value. Because, I mean, he's getting 1,000 yards. He had 1,200 yards last year on the ground, double-digit touchdowns, and like almost 700 receiving yards. So he's still playing at a very high level enough to justify his contract. But I just want to kind of put the idea out there that I get maybe an all-out fire sale, but I'm trying to, it's realistic rebuild. And I think realistically, if CMC can stay healthy, which he is for us, can keep performing, which he is, he's a perfect running back for this scheme. And I'm not going to move on from him just for the sake of moving on from some of the star players here in San Francisco. I almost will say at this point, if this defensive change doesn't get production out of Nick Bosa, there's someone I could potentially move on from, honestly, because CMC's justifying his contract. If Nick Bosa is not, and we are just misusing him in our scheme, sell while the value is incredibly high. I have no idea. I'd probably get multiple first-round picks for Nick Bosa if we decided we need to move on from him, because I'm trying to just, who is underperforming? No one's going to want Javon Hargrave, right? Got to kind of deal with that contract. Fred Warner's still playing at a good level. Greenlaw's kind of killing it. Even though they're getting older, Lenore, X Factor, just playing even better football. I love our safety room. Feel pretty good about that. The big underperformer right now on the team that's sticking out like a sore thumb is Nick Bosa. But hopefully the change back to maybe a little bit more what D'Amico Ryans did when he was in San Francisco will work out good for our edge rusher here. So we go into free agency. Don't have a lot of money, but just window shopping to a degree. We need a tackle. That's probably one of our, a tackle and an edge rusher, which, of course, those are the 2 premium positions that everyone always wants. Did not get a good role for tackles that are available on the open market. And looking at edge rushers, if you're looking for a role player, there's certainly some role players available. You looking just for a 1 year? 2 year, huh? That could be fun. Tried. Put the Bosa brothers on the same line. That would be cool, but again, don't have enough money. All right, so the draft is it's interesting because I think everybody that I would want is trade up needy, but we're at pick 30, so I always kind of feel like it's too much. It's too much of a price to try to trade up. Looking at the board here, a lot of the top edge rushers and tackles off the board. That's where we wanted to look. Look at that top 15 picks. Most of them are DNs and or tackles, which is great. Kind of following my way down the board here, just looking at did anyone get sniped from us that I thought would be available? Not really. Overton, I guess, Alabama edge rusher, I thought could be on board. Maybe we might get a tackle roll or two. We had some O-line scout. We got Brailsford, but not really a guy that I think we can kick out to tackle. We scouted Josh Simmons. He's definitely a player that, if we, these draft classes eventually get updated, he's definitely going to be a first rounder. Thought there might be value there. Not really. We have Jagusa from Notre Dame. Big 6'7", but D pass block, C run block. I don't care how, unless you are S tier athlete, which he doesn't look to be. Pass. Brailsford does look like a good pick, but at 6'2", 296. Not really a tackle. I know Basantis has played tackle. What do we got here? Double C. I mean, just again, not great. And at right tackle, and then we got Blake Miller, big time athlete out of Clemson, first round tackle. Oh, okay, that might need to be the pick that we make, because as far as pass rushers are concerned, I think we do have. I mean, Harold Perkins is there, but I mean, he's a tweener, right? Guy that's like one of the most elite players when he was healthy at LSU, and then they just couldn't figure out how to use him correctly. And I don't know if a 6'1", 230 pass rusher. If you're built like Nolan Smith, maybe. He's not. So I think just ultimately for our roster right now, we have ourselves a nice-looking tackle, first-round grade, plug-and-play, day one starter. Welcome. I mean, that's both our drafts. Last year, first pick, went tackle. This year, first pick, went tackle. Last year's first pick did not have a dev trait. Hopefully, it is a different case here with Blake Miller, big-time athlete, number 19 in true value, getting him at 30. And we get the dev trait. Let's go. Second round, we're going to kind of go best pass rusher available. And I thought on paper might be Ethan Burke, but not great grades there. We have Ingram Dawkins on the other side. It's A power move, C finesse move. Not great block shed. 6'4", 280. Decent enough combine. Like, not brutal. Obviously not a big-time athlete, which is sometimes what you get at a Georgia lineman. We have Kamara from Indiana, who's a baller. Watch a lot of Indiana. I kind of adopted Indiana after Florida was clearly not going to make the playoffs. I wanted someone to root for the playoffs, and we are going with Indiana because they also have a Canadian quarterback, and the coach is awesome. So, I mean, not seeing much there. We got Jacob Manu. 5'11", and just no athleticism. Not an athletic bone in that guy's body. So we're not getting a great... We got Trey Moore from Texas. How about this? B tackle. We got A finesse move. The physicals, good, solid, elite strength. Hey! Kind of blind picking here. Really need to see if we can find a pass rusher. Let's take a gamble with Moore. At 54 in true value at 62. No dev trait, but I'll take that for a blind pick. I did scout D tackle, just because I think Javon Hargrave is probably the big contract we need to get off the books, and we got value here. Demonic Williams. I feel like he was at TCU once upon a time, now at Oklahoma, but look at that. Second, third round talent. B tackle, 46 reps on the bench press, 73 in true value at 94 with a perfect 99 strength. Really, the final pick on the board, we went with the best athlete across everybody that's remaining, and that is Carnell. Dalen Carnell, almost 220-pound safety, ran a 4.39, and we get a dev trait roll. Purely depth, going to be a special teamer, but hey, let's go. Looking at our draft, we depth for sure. 64, 67, 64. Carnell, 68 with a dev trait. Demonic Williams with the 99 strength, 72 normal. Trey Moore, 73 with a dev trait. And, oh wait, did he have a dev trait? I take that back. 73, no dev trait, but a developmental pass rusher for sure. We'll put him on the other side of Nick Bosa. But the big dog here, great value, especially at pick 30. Blake Miller, 75, scheme fit, day one starting right tackle with a dev trait. As we start year 3, we're off to a 2-1 start, and we just put belt to ass over divisional rival Seattle Seahawks, 41-3. With a player of the week performance, 4 touchdowns from $300 million quarterback Brock Purdy, justifying that contract. So on our bye week set, it's one of those ones that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. We're 3-3, not great record. Lost to the Eagles, lost to the Rams, lost to the Falcons. But like our rankings are pretty good. Top 10 passing, top 10 rushing, number 2 overall defense. Like the rankings switching to DeMeco Ryans has worked. Maybe I want to get a very quick sneak peek at the sacks, because the sacks have been dog shit. Brock Purdy could have more passing touchdowns for sure. CMC still killing it. It's a complete weapon. The sacks are, 4 games in. Not bad. In line to track for Bosa to have a better year. He's been getting under 10. So he's on pace to get double digits. So not, I mean, I don't know. That is very interesting. So when it comes to the salary cap, well, here's going to be our roster turnover. $2 million in the red. I said as soon as we re-sign Charvarius Ward that it was, we're probably going to feel that one. And it very well looks like we're going to need a new kicker. We're going to need a new D-tackle too. We're going to need a new left guard, a new free safety, and I have no bucks to pay, a top 3 linebacker in the league. So somehow our very good team that was 14-3 and a win away from going to the Super Bowl last year is now 8-8. It has an identity crisis. We're not throwing the football well enough. Our defense still playing at a very high level. And it's you got to win. Win it in. A lot of teams at 8-8 fighting for that last playoff spot. If we can beat the Chargers, who are also 8-8, punch our ticket to the playoffs, and you get your ticket to the lottery. We can get hot and beat anybody. We win. We win and we lose a spot. Commanders bump us somehow. Okay. So looking at our stats, we're not getting enough out of Brock Purdy. Fair to say. I mean, we have weapons. He's the issue. If, when you look here, all right, CMC, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, and that looks okay. Then you throw in another 400 and another one. He's slowing down. But, I mean, you have Kittle, who's 96 X Factor. Ayuk, who's 90+. Ricky Pearsall in the slot, who's like 87, 88. The weapons are not the problem. Not a good season from Brock Purdy. And we paid him, again, $300 million. So we pretty much have to figure out how to make it work with Brock Purdy. And we got a QB guru offensive coordinator. So his stats are juiced. This is a 97 overall quarterback here that got +3s to all his accuracies. Yeah, noodle arm. And yeah, we got to work and spend some points there to get +2 to his throw power. But man, oh man. You have an almost 99 overall quarterback struggling to get 30 touchdowns with the weapons we have in place. I mean, that's where we've been investing. We've been investing in the O-line so the offense can keep going. I mean, we only give up 6 sacks. Not bad. Defensively. Oh, look, let's see. Do the sacks go up any? No, they still suck. 3.5. Nick Bosa had 3 sacks at the midway point of the season. He finishes the season with 3.5. Half a sack. This team sucks. This is the biggest underperforming team I've had in a rebuild for the talent that we have. So at season's end, dev traits, no one was harshly punished, which is a win. Blake Miller, first round pick, just a star dev. But I think we got some tough decisions to make here. This might be a little fire. I think, see if we can cash out on CMC. Get a team that just needs him for a year. I don't know what kind of value we could get. Ayuk's underperformed this whole rebuild. And, it's the talent is there. We're going to lose Fred Warner because I can't afford to pay him. Right? I don't know how Nick Bosa's not regressing. Incredibly disappointing. There's no other way. He's probably been easily the most disappointing player on this whole freaking team. Both sides of the ball. Charvarius Ward loses his X Factor, but we knew kind of what we were getting into when he gave him the 2-year extension. Hufanga, superstar. Greenlaw, superstar. Can't afford to play Jair Brown, but we have Carnell and Mustafa. Depth. We have decent depth at safety. Guys that I think could start and not be a complete liability. And for linebacker, Munden's a 75, second-year player. You could put him in there to replace Fred Warner. It's going to be a significant drop-off, but we have a prospect that has somewhat of a ceiling there. I don't know. So with our clearly no money, we're just going to pick up the 5th-year option of Ricky Pearsall because he's been our only 1,000-yard receiver, reliable weapon in the slot. And I mean, even then, a $26 million contract is a little rough, and we're going to have to deal with that. Just because he's an absolute legend for the franchise, Fred Warner puts himself right up there with the Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowmans. 2 tackles shy of 1,000 for his career with San Francisco. 45 TFLs, 14.5 sacks, 20 picks. I'd keep you if I could afford you. So looking at what we can get for Christian McCaffrey on the open market, we have Barrett Carter. Interesting. Keon White, corner, Mika Ibuka, wide receiver, Peyton Wilson at linebacker, 27. Kennard. I mean, I don't think I'm necessarily at a liberty to say none of these trades are realistic, and see ya. To be said for Brandon Ayuk, but on this one here, the trades are a little unrealistic. For ones that I would, consider. Kelvin Banks. You could look at Brian Brzee, Fatano on the O-line, Devondre Sweat, and the nose tackle. All of those, I mean, that's probably the one that, like, maybe you could justify. The Titans are desperate enough for a wide receiver. But, I want to gamble that we could get the offense going, and Ayuk is going to be more of an asset with the team than off the team. And just out of curiosity's sake, what is the market for Nick Bosa? Well, we got Odunze. I mean, I'd read pretty much. Oh, we get CMC back and the first pick next year. Okay, first round. I mean, they're getting first rounders. Ooh, Gonzo would be cool. The audacity of the Rams being like, "Hey, this Husky guy's good." We'll keep him. The only good news is essentially by getting rid of CMC, it gives us at least an opportunity to try to bring back Fred Warner, who I'm not really worried about any regression at any point if I give him this contract. But there is still certainly a level of, he needs to want to pick us over the Raiders. And if he doesn't, I'll be disappointed. Means he doesn't want to be here because I'm offering him the same money that the Raiders are offering him. There we go. I'm at the top bid. And he's smart. He's back in the building. Let's go. Well, the only time we're ever going to be all right with a very disappointing, underperforming season is when it's the first round of the draft and we don't have to wait all the way to the final selection. But even then, we weren't that bad because it came down to the final day of the regular season to determine whether or not we make the playoffs. So we have pick 18 in the first round. What do we need? Well, we need a running back to replace Christian McCaffrey. I have my eye on one. We're blind picking. We have our pick of the litter. But this guy here, Jadarian Price, I'm not overly familiar with. But A, ball carrier vision, and he has elite in Excel. Like, he definitely looks like the best athlete available. That's day 3, so we can kind of wait there. Very similar to like how the 49ers drafted Garendo. We got Ryan Wingo, who's a legit baller at wide receiver. Like, is that a way to fix? Like, really, the reality is we got to fix and get more out of our quarterback. And is that by bringing another weapon at wide receiver? Could be the case. Is that by continuing to build the offensive line? We now need a new starting guard. And we got one here in Anthony Knapp from Notre Dame. Checks out as a legitimate first rounder. A, pass block. A, awareness. Elite change of direction. Elite speed. Bench press could be a little better. But that looks like a pretty safe pick. Unfortunately for me, I was on. Oh, they're great. Great. The nice D tackler looks like a first rounder. It's absolute bust. I was under the impression that we would be able to keep Fred Warner. So I had, well, I guess I did not. I set my focus scouting to middle linebackers, and they didn't even scout them. We got Sammy Brown here from Clemson, who is very highly regarded. But by bringing back Fred Warner on a 3-year deal, kind of makes sense not to go that direction. So, I mean, ultimately, do we go with, a guy that's going to be day 1 starter? We don't have a starter. We have a massive gap on our O-line here. And make it 3 straight drafts of addressing the offensive line to get them to play at a high level, because the offensive line is the engine of a Shanahan system. And Knapp is a top 10 player. Getting him at pick 18. We're building a freaking great wall in front of Brock Purdy and company. They need to start paying us back. All right, second round, we're going to throw a kind of blind pick at a 5-star recruit, Micah Hudson, Texas Tech. I think he transferred to A&M this offseason, but B catching traffic, has elite acceleration. Really the only wide receiver left on the board that is elite in almost any category. So we'll see what he can bring. 61 in true value, getting at 50 for a blind pick. Not too shabby. Normal dev. All right, third round, I'm getting this speed guy. Jadarian Price, 5'11", 210, 4.40 speed. I'm in. Number 4, what? Like, isn't Love the running back for Notre Dame? Haven't watched many Notre Dame. I literally watched Notre Dame. Who they play? A&M? I think that's the only time, obviously, ahead of the college football playoff this weekend. Price, 4 in true value, getting him at 82. Well, that's how you replace Christian McCaffrey, I guess. Damn, we got some decent depth late. But look at Price, 77 with a hidden. Notre Dame has done us well. 72 for Hudson's not bad for a blind pick, but 77 hidden dev, 77 hidden dev at 2 positions that we needed starters. I'm never going to complain about that in what is our final realistic class. From here on out, we're going to get the Madden generated ones, which, we're going to have some fun with those ones. So yeah, this kid's feeling kind of special, but the question's not only going to be this elite offensive line that we've invested 3 straight first-round picks into. Are you going to be able to run behind those guys? I don't think that's going to be a question. However, he's taking over Christian McCaffrey, so can he do it on the ground between the tackles and through the air? Because that is always going to be an element. As long as Shanahan's here, our running backs need to be able to catch the football. We'll wait and see if he can do that. So the midway point of the year, 5-2. Record's a little bit better, coming off our second L to a divisional rival, which is a little bit rough. But look at that. Nothing's changed. We are still everything offensively minus CMC, and now we have a lot better offense. Our defense still, mixed bag a little bit there, but pretty good. I don't think I changed the offense. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure we're still San Francisco. Yeah, San Francisco, D'Amico Ryan's defense. And even though last year we didn't really see a gigantic difference between D'Amico Ryan's and the base Niners defense, which I imagine there's probably not. That's more of a placebo effect. But taking a look at the squad, 5-2. The offense put it all together, and Price is superstar dev. So, spoiler, not spoiler. Knapp and Price in the 2026 draft class both have superstar devs if you're using these classes and you're in the market for these 2 positions. I mean, you look at the offense, makes sense that we're fired off. This is a great offense. We're outside of a center, a complete offense, and honestly, we know this from multiple years of rebuilds. The center is the least important position. You can win with a 40 overall center. You won't notice any real drop off in play. And we got Brock Purdy playing like a 98 overall, which we need him to because he's a $300 million quarterback. So I'm happy with where we're at right now. It's a good start. Still can completely fall apart in the back end of the season, but let's be cautiously optimistic. Looking at our contracts. Great, back in the red. Well, Sharice Ward kind of knew that was, we might not have, even if we had the money, might have been like, let's move on. But Pooney at guard, that's a big loss, potentially. Renardo Green at corner, he's our nickel. I mean, not as bleak as last year when we couldn't afford, Fred Warner. But definitely still in a top spot roster-wise. And very well could have if we can't figure out to get extra money at the end of the year, might have to go 4 straight years of drafting linemen if we lose Pooney. At the end of the year, number 4. Back in almost the driver's seat, 11-6. Look at our rankings. Pretty good cross-board, top 10 team. Number 1 rush defense in the league. However, somehow, someway, the Rams have the tiebreaker for us to have the 2 seed in the division. That doesn't really make sense. We came second in the division, runner-up. Would have been nice to get our second divisional title of the rebuild, but at least we're back in the playoffs and not really battling with can we get a 500 record? Let's take a look at our stats here. Did Brock Purdy play any better? Marginally. Yards are up, 30 touchdowns. Kind of regret giving, in hindsight, if I go back to it all again, probably don't play Brock Purdy. Jadarian Price, superstar running back, and definitely feeling the drop-off from Christian McCaffrey. Brock Purdy with decent rushing numbers. Receiving, 14 and 15 for Ayuk. Pretty nuts. Pearsall was solid, Kittle was solid, Hudson was solid, Price decent enough out of the backfield, similar to what Christian McCaffrey was giving us. So he does go over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, which is, let's be honest, I guess that should be bare minimum. Looking at the defense, 100 tackles, Fred Warner, 7 interceptions. Glad we were able to re-sign him. Our sacks are still pretty disappointing, all things considered. But, I mean, it's not brutal. 4 picks for Renardo Green, set to be a free agent. 4 picks for Hufanga. Greenlaw with 3. I would like to say probably overall, 4 years in, this is probably our best box score stat season You know, he got screwed a little bit in the awards. So Brandon Ayuk was runner-up for Offensive Player of the Year to Saquon Barkley. Also needs to be mentioned that Fred Warner, runner-up for the year for Defensive Player of the Year. Price, runner-up the year for Offensive Rookie of the Year. But runner-up for Offensive Player of the Year for Ayuk. But he doesn't win Wide Receiver of the Year. That goes to Puka Nacua. Robbery. So we got in the first round of the playoffs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, below 500 team, but good roster, 87 overall. Looking at their meat and potatoes here. Offense, not great. Defense, solid. Could be an annoying defense. And the fact of the matter is that Brock Purdy's not a world beater right now. So it's not like we can count on him to, pop off. It's going to be probably games like this where we do win 17-13. I don't think we're going to see many 4-touchdown performances from Brock Purdy. I'd love to be proved wrong, but our defense is very good. And they showed that here, 17, whatever. We got touchdown for Purdy. Will Levis is the quarterback now for the Bucs. That's kind of wild. But Brock Purdy protected the football, game managed it, which is solid. Not much there out of the running game. Kittle had a decent performance. Rookie Hudson had a decent performance. Defensively, sack and a half from Bosa. Williams with a sack. Interception from Ward and Tatum Bethune. It's Ward's final run with the squad. We'd love to see him maybe get a ring when all is said and done. I suppose if Nick Bosa can get hot, he's been very underwhelming. But if he can get hot for this playoff run, starting it off strong, maybe, just maybe. If we're going to win with our defense, we need Bosa playing his best. We've luckily avoided the Eagles and Cowboys for at least a round, and that sets up a bitter divisional rivalry here in the divisional round. 11-6 Niners, 11-6 Rams. We can find out who is truly the top team in the division, even though our team is 6 overall points better and a much better roster. You just never know. They got Verse, Puka, Tyron. They got. We'll put them in the utmost respect category by upgrading our players here to make sure our roster is as good as it can be. We got Carter, Garendo, Carnell. Carter, obviously, who we got from the New York Giants in that trade, which kind of gives it, three across at linebacker with Barrett, Carter, Greenlaw, and Fred Warner for how much we run in base. Can we get back to the NFC Championship game? Year 2, we made the championship game, lost to the Eagles, and we made it again. Oh, did I spark something for Brock Purdy? 47-21. And Brock Purdy said, I'm a game manager, huh? Here's 6 touchdowns. Oh, they're going to beat Gunner. Look at that, 21. We had 37 in the first half. God damn. Arch Manning and the Rams didn't stand a chance. 386. Brock Purdy almost broke a freaking record. Ricky Pearsall, Ayuk, 2 touchdowns for Kittle. We got Price out the backfield, the rookie Hudson. Defensively, Greenlaw with a sack, 2 sacks for Demonic Williams. First team all-name, Malik Mustafa with an interception. That's pretty damn good. And now, it's a rematch from the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. The last time we were good, and we got the 1-seed Philly. And I'm looking, you can't look too far ahead. And you know my feelings, honestly. Under the hood, if we lose to the Eagles again, I'm smiling on the inside in a way. But on the other side, there's no Kansas City. Anytime there's no Kansas City, even you have the Bills, Josh Allen, yada, 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 if they make it. No KC is always a very favorable role. So if we can handle business against the Philadelphia Eagles back in the NFC Championship game, they beat us last time. They've honestly beat us the last couple times. But this would be a time that would be great not to lose. So let's go. Come on. Year 4. The Bills handled their business. I don't know if we won or lost. There's nothing indicating whether or not we did. Which means we probably lost. Yep. How do we beat the Eagles? Why do they keep beating us? Honestly, not a brutal game by Brock Purdy. Did have the turnover, which in a kind of close game, 2 touchdowns for the... Price went off. Brandon Ayuk was a little bit of a ghost. Defensively, only got 1 sack on the day. No turnovers when we've been getting sacks and turnovers this whole playoff run. Back to the drawing board. So the good news is no real dev trait regression. Kittle still keeps his dev trait. Price keeps his. Brandon Ayuk up to a superstar after that big-time season. Almost a robbery, man. Pearsall's had the kind of years he's been having and not getting off a normal dev. A little bit unfair there. Defensively, Fred Warner keeps his dev trait. Greenlaw keeps his. Hufanga up to superstar. Somehow, someway, Bosa just doesn't regress, which I'm not going to complain. We lost the dev trait on Ward, but he's going to hit the open market, so Not brutal. But we are going to be going into the offseason, man. We want to get back to the NFC Championship game here in year 5. We're going to have to draft well and navigate, losing our Charveris Ward, which got no money to keep him. We got to navigate losing, Pooney, likely, on the offensive line. It's a big loss. And just to confirm, we got a little, at least we're in the green now. We're not in negative, but no money to pay Ward or Pooney or Renardo Green, or we definitely will pick up the option of Ursery. But we are going to need 2 new corners and a new starting guard, and that's all going to have to come from the draft. Now, guard and corner, one of the easier positions to draft, so hopefully we get a good roll there. So I did set interior O-line as our focus scout. In hindsight, I kind of wish I did corner, but we got some value here. Look, we got Foles, who's going to be a second-round pick. He's a first-round talent. We have Barker, who's going to be late. He's a first, second-round talent. So if we can get one of those guys, that would be ideal. We got the centers here, where we got a first, second-round talent on Stout, and he's going to be, again, in that third, fourth-round range. At guard, we have Heller, who's a legit first-rounder. Definitely want to get him in the second round, ideally, which looks pretty good. And we got our 3 focus spots, and obviously with that, we're going to have to go try to find some fun corners. So I was able to scout the top 3 corners, and very clearly a guy that I want. 6'3", Tyree Peterson, top 5 talent. Where's he going in the mock draft? Because he's probably not in our range. Just to get an idea. We are picking at 30. And he is going... of course he is. 17th. Let's call a Powerball and see what he wants for pick 16. Maybe I overpaid. I think this is reasonable value because it's 16. It's not like we're trying to trade up for a top 10 pick. I'm going to give our first round pick this year, our 4th round pick this year, so that with the 2nd and 3rd round, ideally, we can draft a guard and a center, which we need 2 new starters on the O-line. 2nd round pick next year, 2nd round pick, and hopefully a year that doesn't matter. And we're able to move up about 15 spots. Should be able to get that top 5 corner. But you never know. Sometimes the final mock draft 5 is lying to you, but luckily not the case here. And Tyree Peterson, you are at 6'3", A-man, B-press, B-zone, B-catching, 4.35. No elites, which might make sense if he's high rating, no dev trait, because he's not like an S-tier athlete, but he's still a pretty damn good athlete. Last year, we got number 4 in true value. This year, number 4 in true value. Peterson with a dev trait, and there's our Charveris Ward replacement. Now, pick 30 in the 2nd round. We have all that information on the interior linemen. We still have Barker, who's a first, second round talent. We still have Stout, who's a first, second round talent, but could not have asked for a better role. Heller still on the board at pick 30. 3 A's. Come on. 15 in true value at 62. Let's go. And we're going to pull a Ricky Williams. I literally am going to trade the rest of my picks this draft, plus my 3rd rounder next year. We have 2 3rd rounders next year because of the CMC trade. So that I get the 1st pick in the 3rd round. We just need the best center. That is it. I only need 1 more player. Rest of my roster's ready to go. Not worried about having to find a gem or anything like that. We just got to make sure we make the right call. Cody Barker could play center. We have A, impact, B pass, bleed run, elite jumping, strength, and agility. Okay. Or Brooks Stout out of the U. A run. Ooh. All right. Don't even look. We have thrown so much resources. I've completely rebuilt this offensive line in San Francisco. I want to see some goddamn return on investment this year. Get me a Super Bowl. So then in our draft recap, 3 picks, and what we got is 74 hidden dev center, day 1 starter, 75 hidden dev guard, replacing Dominic Pooney, and then we get Tyree Peterson, the number 4 player in the draft, 78 with a dev trade. Now, it'll be a little bit of a bummer if all these guys are star devs, but can't hate with the initial viewing of what these guys are going to be able to bring to the team and help us contribute here in year 5. Now that we're in the generated classes, we can have free reign to kind of look around, look under the hood. Whoa, 84 running back, 81 safety. Congrats to the Browns. Damn. Whoa! 6'1", 231. So built like a power back. 95 speed, 94. I ain't never seen a running back built like that. Jesus Christ. What a beast. All right, so here we go. Year 5 for the San Francisco 49ers, looking to bounce back after a second NFC Championship game lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. We got to get over the hump. The O-line's looking stout, and we're going to give them hell. Anyways, O-line looks great. We've invested, first-round pick. What was that? Second-round pick, third-round pick, first-round pick in this rebuild. That is our O-line. Kittle's still hanging on there. He could retire on a moment's notice. Brock Purdy's a 98 overall. The expectations has risen. We got Price, not quite in his rookie season replacing CMC, but we know the ceiling and upside is there. Ayuk had a hell of a year. Pearsall is a great wide receiver 2. Hudson is serviceable as a wide receiver 3. All in all, that's an offense that has no weakness. You look at the defense, they've played at an extremely high level this entire rebuild. We got Bosa, Williams, Stewart, and Moore on the D-line. Solid. We got Carter, Warner, and Greenlaw linebacker. Best linebacking core in the NFL. Safety at Hufanga and Carnell, as a tandem, look great. Lenore, Peterson, and we got Green, who's just, a little bit of a weakness in the nickel. But as far as outside corners are concerned, I don't really have much concern there. So, 11-6 last year. Honestly, this team should be a 12-13 win team and running away with the division. So we're the midway point of the season again, 5-2, which is, it tracks. That's where we were last year, on a good start. So I'm optimistic that is going to maintain. However, our rankings, not the high level that they have been years past. That is for sure. Looking at our roster, because we had a bunch, 3 dev trait players. Do we have, and no, the return. So we got Stout as superstar. Back-to-back years we've drafted a superstar lineman. He was our 3rd-round pick. Heller, our 2nd-round pick. Just a star dev. Would love to see superstar on that corner, Peterson. Star. I mean, almost an 80. He's 80 overall as a rookie. I'm not going to complain too much about that one. So pretty happy where we're at 5-2. Are we finally out of the hellhole of our salary cap where we can actually extend players? Yes, sir. $131 million remaining. And if we're being completely honest with ourselves, Kittle's been solid. And he's, iconic 49er player. And we've got to make sure he retires as a 49er. Ricky Pearsall has been a great wide receiver, too. We love to not have to overpay. And nice. We get him locked in till he's 30. Dre Greenlaw has been awesome. One of our most productive players. Am I annoyed that he's kind of getting paid like an edge rusher? A little bit, but we'll make that happen. Ayuk is coming off where he was runner-up for Offensive Player of the Year. So we got to make that happen. Shamar Stewart has been our most productive pass rusher. We have got to make that happen. There's one player on this entire roster that is not worth and has not justified making it happen. It is Nick Bosa. So, best of luck elsewhere, man. You have been such a disappointment. Does he have more? Let's just see. We're in year 5. So we've had 4 seasons of this complete. He's 99 across the board. He literally can't get any better. We've tried different schemes. And here's what we've got out of Nick Bosa. 7 sacks, 5 sacks, 3.5 sacks, 7 sacks, and this year in a contract year where he wants to get charged $40 million a year, 2.5 sacks. And at the end of year number 5, where we kind of need to be. Don't get a great roll here in the first round of the playoffs. Anytime you play Dallas, 9-8, regardless, very annoying. But we do go 12-5, offensively, finish top 10, defensively, finish top 10, however, kind of how it's made, not great. But we do win our 2nd NFC West title of the rebuild, which is definitely less than I expected. Now, the West is decent. Rams are solid. Seattle Seahawks are solid. Cardinals are solid. But you do think, pound for pound, the Niners roster is the strongest, and we've done a good job kind of keeping a lot of the roster together. To only have 2 in 5 years is, probably a little less than I thought we were going to have. Wow, Jalen Hurts had 41 touchdowns. So did Brock Purdy. Where did this come from? He was struggling to get 30, then out of nowhere. Yards are about 400 less than what he had last year, but his touchdowns are up by 10. We get 9-7 from Price. Oh, it's Pearsall. 12-16 from Ayuk, in line with what he had last year. The yards are less, but 12 touchdowns for Pearsall, 5 from Kittle, 3 from Price, 4 for Hudson. And Price has definitely taken his game to another level as a receiver out of the backfield, embracing that CMC role as he goes, 14-ish 100 yards from the line of scrimmage and 10 touchdowns. So very happy with what we're getting out of the running back there. Defensively, did Bosa justify his contract? 7. Demonic Williams has been incredible. Shamar Stewart got himself a contract extension. Bosa, I mean, that's not brutal. Let's be honest. 17 TFL, 7 sacks. But when you're a 99 and literally, like, in the eyes of this game, a perfect defensive end, pretty terrible. 6 picks by Greenlaw, so happy that we repaid him. Hufanga with 4-3 from Lenore, a couple singles there. So all in all, love Peterson as well. 88 tackles, 2 picks for the rookie on 11 PBUs over there. Hell of a rookie campaign. Pretty happy with these. I think we can go on a run, especially now that Brock Purdy, for whatever reason, let's just keep it here. We'll look very quickly at these awards. So he's top 5 for MVP voting in the NFC. Do we have any 49ers? Well, I love seeing Pooney, first year after leaving us, go there. But again, just because it's been an outlier season, nothing just changed. We have, just for whatever reason, finally decided that we're going to put it all together here in the Kyle Shanahan West Coast zone run system. And we got let's flex our muscle a little bit. Are we really that good? Did Brock Purdy really take his game to another level? Well, prove it against the most cheesy team to go up against in the NFC, the Dallas Cowboys, and not be one and done. If not, we go into year 5. Don't need to. 30-24. Competitive win. Not one-sided, not a complete ass-kicking, but an overtime win. Wow. Brock Purdy was solid. Outplayed Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, 2 interceptions. Classic Dak Prescott. Got the rushing touchdown. Pierce all over 100 yards. Almost 102 for Brandon Ayuk. Defensively, no pressures, but we got the 2 picks. Greenlaw and Hufanga. Not going to complain too much about that. Of course, the freaking Eagles and the Ravens and the Chiefs are still in the playoffs. So a lot of annoying big dogs. But what we have to do is lock in and get ready to beat up the Vikings, who, in my opinion, probably still make the top 5 shortlist of annoying teams you don't want to play in the NFC playoffs. Especially because their passing offense is ridiculously cheesy, which you might make the argument it should kind of be with the weapons that they have. As you look at it, they have a top 5 offense, number 2 passing offense. Looking at Justin Jefferson had 1,900 receiving yards. Jesus Christ. And they have Travis Hunter and Ugalagale, and I probably butchered that, DJU's brother, Mateo, who's a freak for Oregon. Probably, you're looking at, he's in the discussion for best pass rusher in college football right now. He's underclass and won't be able to go out till 2026. But, okay, well, could be tough, but a chance to get our 3rd NFC Championship appearance. And, of course, who else would it be but the goddamn Eagles? Of course, and they kind of kicked the crap out of the Lions. But we kicked the crap out of the Vikings. 45-23, sweat-free victory. 360 yards, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers for Brock Purdy. 3 rushing touchdowns. Ricky Pearsall went off. Love seeing that. 2.5 sacks from Bosa, in which could be his final run. Well, will be his final run here for San Francisco. So how do you want to leave your mark? We got 2 sacks from Shamar Stewart. Interception from Fred Warner. We got the goddamn Eagles. On the other side, Kansas City lost. Baltimore moved on. Okay, well, can we finally beat the freaking Philadelphia Eagles? What are the Eagles looking like under the hood? That's the real story, because how do they keep beating us? Is there something that's obvious to what they're exploiting and keep beating us at? When you kind of look under the hood, well, you got Jalen Hurts going for almost 5,000 yards and 41 touchdowns. You have Jalen Carter, who's absolute monster. Why is he a defensive end now? That's weird. Devontae Smith, you got A.J. Brown. They have a top 10 defense. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to see. Let me see this as an Eagle fan, because I've played a lot of years, and I've not seen Jalen Hurts kind of play like that in the sim. 41 touchdowns to 3 picks. They're just not getting any. Even then, it's oh, okay. And then they also still have Saquon and Jalen Hurts getting almost 25 rushing touchdowns between them. 15 and 16 Devontae, 11 and 8 for A.J. Goddard's still there, 7 touchdowns for Elijah Surratt at Indiana. Saquon's just I'll just get also 7 touchdowns out the backfield. Give me 20 on the year. Jesus. What about defensively? Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, Jalen Carter. Milton Williams is still there. Got Cooper DeJean is not a safety. And then they got, what, Quignon's probably like a 90 overall at this point. Okay, yeah, you know. I can kind of see why the Niner fans hate Eagles fans. Hate the Eagles. This is very annoying if we can't squeak past them here. But the good news is, like, you know, sometimes we get in year 5, you've unofficially kind of gone all in. Hasn't really been the case. You know, we handled our business, signed who we wanted to resign. Yeah, it might be a little annoying losing Nick Bosa, but he hasn't played a whole lot to justify, like, feeling bad about losing him. It's just more so from, like, a clear roster standpoint, 99 X factor, who just doesn't regress no matter how average he plays. But let's not even think about that. Let's not think about losing. Let's think about finally beating the Eagles, not losing 3 NFC Championship games to them in a row. And we do! Let's go! Finally! 34-24, a Player of the Week performance from Brock Purdy. 4 touchdowns on the day. Oh my God, did the Patriots beat the Ravens? Can I get a look here? No. Patriots just get the best players of the week, but they still lose. That's a tough drop. Baltimore is annoying. That's a rematch. But look at how we got here. 34-24, outduel the Eagles. 2 interceptions on Hurts. That is the decider. That is the difference maker. Ricky Pearsall on fire. He's been our MVP offensively this whole playoff run. We got Tyree Peterson, the rookie, and Hufanga with an interception. 1 sack from Shamar Stewart. And just like that, year 5, and the Niners have a chance to finish this rebuild with a check mark. So we got ourselves a Super Bowl 47 rematch. Last time, the Harbaugh Bowl, the Ravens won 34-31. Was that the Super Bowl where the power went out? I feel like it was. What else happened in that Super Bowl? I'm trying to think. I feel like... Did the power go out? The Blacko. Yes, it did. Okay, I remember it. Get up there in age. I feel like who went off in that game? I remember Michael Crabtree was in it. I remember that Jacoby Jones had a couple big plays. Kickoff? Was it the big kickoff? Every time I think about like a kickoff return, I just keep thinking of Mike Tomlin trying to trip Buddy. Colin Kaepernick was the quarterback. It was Colin Kaepernick against Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco had pretty much like a perfect performance. Then he got paid off of that one. So, a little bit of a history. But look at this. You look at tail of the tape. We're the better team. As always, when we hop into the Super Bowl, we have 3 opportunities to come in on the sticks if need be. But ultimately, hopefully, this Niners team can seal the deal and get this freaking Super Bowl. All right, so Brock Purdy doesn't suck anymore, we like to think. So that should hopefully be enough with our advantage I think we have over the Ravens defensively to put together a complete team effort and to stop the cheat code that is Lamar Jackson. Low-scoring game. Okay, we might need to come in here. All right, first time coming in. Down 7. What is this playbook? Jesus Christ. Okay, we're going to go with something easy, a stick. We got a hook, top of the screen. That's Wiggins probably on it. Nate Wiggins, maybe Humphrey. Oh, he wins on the inside. Brandon Ayuk. Here we go. That's a gain of Brock Purdy. Clean game. 171 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Okay. We got to win it. Got no timeouts. And I know where I'm going. And it's the guy in red. We're going to win this with a walk-off touchdown. It's going to be, hopefully, one more play. We need a better play than that. All right, so they just pretty much triple-team Kittle. We got to get this to Ayuk. Give me something where Ayuk's going deep. Is this playbook? And maybe we make him the window dressing, and we can get this to Pearsall. Come on. Oh, let's go. Split. We got 86 throw power for Purdy. Was never a favorable situation. But we go to the Gator. Ricky Pearsall, first round. He got shot. That's the story of the Super Bowl. He got shot, and he's back in the Super Bowl, making the play, getting Super Bowl MVP. Suck it, Lamar. Avenge Super Bowl 47. Put that ring on Garendo's finger. Or Hufanga, whoever the hell that is. Let's go, baby. Super Bowl win. I'm in a rebuild mood. The fact that this doesn't have to go 10 years, I got that time now to go record. I'll tell you right now, spoiler, we're doing a Detroit Lions rebuild with max injury sliders on. I'm going to go 100 injury sliders. Not to take a shot at Lions fans, but I want to experience what they had. So it's still possible to go win a Super Bowl. But able to get one here across the line. Couple big plays. We're staring down the barrel of it now. Thought I was maybe going to go to overtime. They score. We get just enough time to make a freaking play. 27-24. Took us 5 years. Lost a lot of that core that we've seen currently in real life with the 49ers. No Deebo Samuel. No Christian McCaffrey. You know, Trent Williams retired maybe a little earlier than expected. Was about to just lose Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa pretty much might as well not have even been here. How bad he played. Now look at that. I'm giving MVP to Pearsall. Gator bias included. Stewart and Williams with sacks. Of course, Nick Bosa, absolute ghost. Hell yeah. We'll finish up the way we always like to. Looking at what we were able to accomplish throughout this 5-year period. Brock Purdy at 26,000 passing yards, 211 touchdowns to 60 picks. Really, before this year, we went for 40. He was, you know, not giving us a great return on investment for a player that we gave a $300 million contract to. But ultimately, won the Super Bowl within 5 years. Not going to complain too much. Was actually decently dual-thready, which we'll take. Price, awesome pick. We got just under 10,000 yards for George Kittle. 63 tuds. Ayuk, just under 9,500 yards. 78 touchdowns. Pearsall, 4,200 yards. 48 touchdowns. Those guys were great. Fred Warner, bringing him back. He hit free agency. He brought him back. 1,200 tackles, 55 TFLs, 18.5 sacks, 29 picks. An incredible playmaker. 83 sacks from Bosa, who did almost all that before the rebuild started. 35.5 from Shamar Stewart, 20.5 from Williams. Those are really like kind of the big dogs for us. Fongo with 20 picks, 15 for Greenlaw, 10 from Lenore. Interceptions were pretty good in this rebuild. There you have it. Able to win it within 5 years. It can be rebuilt. San Francisco, maybe move a couple pieces here around, rebuild the offensive line, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to finally get over that hump again. Started the video saying it reminds me, I went through this with Andy Reid and the Philadelphia Eagles. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Doesn't make sense. Everything goes against you. You know, sometimes you just need a quick little reset. And I don't know, I don't know if that's what John Lynch and company are considering here. Like, I have a buddy who's a Niners fan. He's, like, ready to get rid of freaking a lot of players to kind of turn this thing around. But when all said and done, took us 5 years, able to get that check mark, able to get that Super Bowl with the 49ers. And as I just said, our next rebuild, got to have a little bit of fun. Nice little challenge rebuild. Detroit Lions with 100 maxed out injury sliders. Should be pretty fun. Hopefully I can get that one out to you guys by the weekend. If it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button as we are working towards our new channel goal of 200,000 subscribers here on the channel. Let me know in the comment section below what rebuild you guys want to see next. Hit that like button, leave the comments for the YouTube robots. Helps the videos out on the channel. And until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out. Love ya. Have a good one.